Hey guys, welcome to General Query. This is Pons. I go by he, him, and his.
Hey guys, and this is Zuki, and I go by she, her, and hers. Welcome to another episode of General Query. Hello. Hi. I was thinking, what the fuck is what I was thinking. So,
I
um,
thought that was going somewhere else.
no, it wasn't because that's the thing. So that's as far that's as much as my brain can give,
Right.
you know?
No, yeah. So there's a
Yeah.
lot going on and I love it. And there's so much I can't even think of. So the Olympics started.
The Olympics started.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's something fun to talk about. Celine Dion. Did you see it?
I did see it.
Yeah.
I saw it and I cried. I saw it and I sobbed. I saw it and I was,
Yeah. Yeah.
she
And
made
that
me believe I
Dior
could run
gown.
a mile.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
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 No, she is forever a queen. Obviously, this we know, but her showing up to the Olympics after what she's been going through medically and being like, okay, I'm not just going to come back. I'm going to come back at the event that highlights the top of human ability around the world.
This is true.
That's
I had never thought about that.
Yeah, like she's
Very
like, I'm
true.
gonna come out like because I'm the fucking singing Olympics, bitch. Like
Right.
that's me,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Yeah. Like I think what I love about that is like I've seen a meme that goes around. She's like, it's like, and yet again, I'm petitioning for the Olympic Committee to have a normal, average person do the event that the athlete is going to do so that we understand how hard it is to do what the
Right.
athlete is about to do. And I'm like, I would love that. I would volunteer as tribute if somebody was like, okay, Zuki, throw, I don't know, a fucking what is it? What is it? The long skinny things that they throw at a distance? The javelin? Is
Asking
it
the
a
wrong
javelin?
gay.
You got the wrong gay. Um, it's the javelin or whatever. I could try. I could try.
Right.
You know how we talk about like having like gay audacity, everybody,
Right. Right. Right.
think you can do anything. I think I also have like I have girl audacity. Like my whole thing is like if a man can do it, how hard can it be? Like that's my whole
Right.
thing, you know? So I'm like, throw a javelin,
I
yeah,
mean,
for
right.
sure.
Aside from like lifting shit, I think, yeah, you're right. Probably can do anything, you know?
Yeah, like how hard can it be? So
Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute. Put me up there next to the fucking Serena Williamses of the world and have me try to hit a fucking tennis ball.
Okay.
Just
Can
so
we
that
talk
we
about golfing? Why is that a sport? Why is that a
Why
thing?
is that a sport?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
do we have any golfers out there that listen? I don't think that's our
Yeah. I,
audience,
I
but
don't get it.
it's
You
just
know? Yeah. I guess you have to be like strategical, blah, blah, blah. But like, you're just, I don't know.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't
So what's the one sport you're super excited to watch?
honestly like no shit. I love watching the relay races, like when they're
Oh,
like,
really? Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
here's why. Once again, it's a me thing, obviously. But I love to watch it because I don't think I could do it because the stress. Because I know, so I have a family member, my oldest niece did track and field. And so she did
Uh-huh.
a lot of this stuff. So I know that you can be the best fucking runner. You can be so fast and all this stuff. But if you and your teammate don't have the handoff of that baton down to a science, it fucks everything up, you know?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know that I could live with that stress. Like, okay, I can be running amazing, and then I accidentally flub the handoff.
Right.
Done.
Or like
Yeah.
try to like toss it, you know? I also, a
Yeah.
little quick caveat. I love
Yeah.
that I can see your husband.
Can you? You know what? The
So
good
funny.
thing is you can see him on the Zoom. You can't see him on regular video.
Okay, okay, okay. There you
So
go. So
that's
you
great.
guys on YouTube won't see him. That was funny.
That is so, this is like, it's giving beginning of the pandemic, 2020,
Oh
when
my
we're
God,
like,
yes. Those were good old
remember?
days. I know it was terrible. I know it was shitty. I know we were all like constricted to four walls, but it was a great time for me.
It was a great time. And you know what? I think it's also emblematic of the absolute shit show we're living in at the moment, that we are now looking at a pandemic like with melancholy
Yeah,
and
also
like
like look at how
nostalgia.
beautiful everything looked. Like even Venice was fucking full, you know? So
Yeah, nature was healing, y'all,
yeah, yeah,
during the pandemic, and
right.
then we came back with a vengeance. And she said, I'm going away,"
She was
is
like,
what
fuck you
she said.
guys, then
Nature
started
said, "Go fuck yourselves."
burning everything
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, which really quick, by the way. So you guys know Fonz and I, we bitch about politics 24/7 because it's just who we are as people. Um, and obviously, as of the time of this recording, now Kamala Harris is going to be the Democratic nominee for the presidency. Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
Thankfully.
I think, thanks, Joe. Thanks for your valiant service. I think his remaining time in office is probably more important for him to push as much as he can, and then make way for somebody else. I think that's
Yeah.
excellent. I think the girls are going through it, in the sense, like, not our girls, like the girls. We all saw the reaction to Kamala Harris being they apparently we're all miserable cat ladies. I guess that's something that's
Yeah,
going
it's lovely.
around.
Yeah. I'll
Um,
jump in on that one. So did you see? I mean, I don't like her, but like Tommy, what's her name? Tommy, whatever.
oh,
She,
Lauren? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she lives on
Yeah,
Fox anyway.
yeah.
Even she had something to say about that. She was like,
Yeah,
no.
right. Because,
Yeah,
and so I saw the reaction from a lot of conservative women being like, hey, so like I don't have kids, but it's because I had a burst fallopian tube from an ectopic pregnancy, and that's why I can't have my own kids. I would love to have kids, but I can't. So it's kind of really fucked up of anybody to
yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah,
that kind of shit.
yeah.
And so
And then did you see
yeah,
that Jennifer Aniston like finally spoke up because she's always been like super silent
very
about
apolitical, very
politics. You
apolitical.
right,
Yeah,
you don't know where
yeah.
she stands, and she was like, you know what? Fuck this shit.
Fuck this shit. And then that little fucking twerp called her disgusting. He had
Okay,
the
but
fucking
can we
gall
talk about how he revealed on his memoir that
that he fucked a couch.
that too, but that when he was 8 years old, he thought he was gay up until his grandma made fun of him. Like he actually wanted to be with boys.
And isn't that funny? That's what we call a pregnant pause. And the great news about a pregnant pause is that we can say, see what we're talking about?
Right.
Um, they always say the quiet part out loud, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there's obviously a lot of misogynistic attacks out there.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's really gross.
Yeah.
If we were in a different state, you could make a lot of politically nuanced arguments, whether for or against Kamala Harris, which is fine. I just don't think that that's where that side is coming at it from.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that should tell you everything, right? That
Right.
should tell you what they care about, actually. It's
Exactly.
not your
Exactly.
well being, it's not policy, it's not let's make your life better. It's we absolutely abhor women, we hate women. That's
Yeah.
not hyperbole, that's actually
Right.
true.
You know,
Yeah,
something that I've noticed as of late,
yeah,
more and more Republicans are coming out and speaking out and being like, you know, being a Republican is not agreeing with Trump. If you are a true Republican,
right.
you are not a Trumpist or
Supporter.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're like, that
absolutely.
is not what the Republicans stand for, which I think
No,
it's great. We needed to hear that. Like,
we
people
needed to
needed to
hear
hear
that.
that. Yeah.
People needed to remember that, like, remember Mitt Romney was a thing and he ran
Right.
against President Obama, and it was like a perfectly like civil
Civil. Yeah.
situation. John
Yeah.
McCain, they
Yeah.
ran on
Yeah.
policy.
I
That's
saw this little
yeah.
video and it was like, um, back when Obama was running for presidency or whatever, and then obviously they had the Republican parties and whatever.
Yeah,
And so they would ask people around, and then obviously they would go into racial slurs and whatever. And they would stop them immediately and be like, nope,
immediately.
Obama is actually a great guy. We just, have differences in opinion when it comes down to like, you know, critical themes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe actually, yeah, I think
Yeah.
I know exactly what it was. John McCain. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were in this town hall, and
Yeah.
this lady gets up and she starts,
There was
oh,
different, yeah, it was
yeah,
different
different.
people, and he would
Yeah,
shut them
he's
up
like,
real quick.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, he's like, we're not doing this.
We're not doing this, and that's
Yeah.
that's what it used to be like. So I think there's a lot of moving parts going on from
Yeah.
now until November. If you're in Texas, and I'll put those links up in the episode notes and we'll put them on the Instagram. If you live in Texas, the deadline to register to vote in this year's election is coming up very, very quickly. I also want to make a point. I read an amazing article that I'll also link from the Texas Tribune that the article title was Texas is a blue state that doesn't vote. Okay. So voting, actual people that show up to vote in El Paso, and sorry, in policy, it's true though, El Paso, but
Right.
Texas specifically, very, very few folks actually show up to vote. The people that show up to vote do not represent the majority of the population in Texas, and so we are not voting, guys. We're
Yeah.
not registered to vote. The voter registration numbers are dismal in Texas. And so I'm going to put out the link out there. Go register to vote.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then again, that's Texas. And if you're in El Paso, even more so, I'm looking at all of y'all. Go and register to vote
Yep.
and then show up to the polls. But yeah, you're running out of time. The deadline, I don't have it off the top of my head, but we'll upload it.
I think
So you
it's like the
guys,
last week of August. I can't remember,
yeah,
but I think that's
it's
what it
coming
is.
up. It's
But
coming up.
yeah. Yep.
So definitely. So go do that. But yeah, so that's crazy. I mean, there's a lot going on in the
Yeah.
world. But the Olympics are a fun thing. I thought the opening ceremonies were so cute.
You know what? I didn't watch the entire thing,
There was a
unfortunately.
lot of
I
like
have to
technical
catch up on that.
difficulties, but they did. I thought the themes were great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch and stuff. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't
we'll
know. I have
see.
no opinions on it yet. What I am excited to watch is all the swimming. I'm a I'm a fan of that sport.
Can you walk us through, Fonz, what makes you such a fan of swimming?
I mean, what's a better thing than watching a bunch of guys swimming in tiny little speedos and getting
Okay,
wet?
got it, got it, got it.
Yeah. On
Yeah,
another note, tennis. I love tennis. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I used to play tennis, and so tennis is another sport that I love watching. Yeah.
tennis is so hard. Have I talked to you guys about my crush on Serena Williams?
No, I don't think
Okay.
we've ever talked about sports. Period.
Oh my God, I know. Look it up.
Right. It took the Olympics.
We are properly butch ladies. So I don't like sports. I couldn't care less about sports. But I do love women. And my favorite kind of women, Fawn knows this, we've talked about it, is I love impressive bodies in women. So women that are like very, very strong and like super like buff and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Serena Williams is
Is
one of
very
those women.
much that. Yep.
She
Mhm.
is very fucking strong. She's a
Yeah.
tall woman. She's a
Massive. How
very
tall is she? Like
she's like
5'11"?
yeah, she's about I think she's like 5'11, 5'10, something like
Yeah.
that. But the thing about Serena is this bitch is stacked. Okay.
Yeah.
She's all muscle,
Yep.
okay? And like
Those
athletic.
thighs are
Like,
disgusting.
dude, her thighs are oh,
Goals. I'm just being
I just
petty because my legs are tiny. But anyway.
what I wouldn't give to just chomp on just chomp.
Oh,
I want to know what
I
it
don't
feels
know
like.
why, but my mind just went straight to like being like squished by her thighs, like fucking I can't breathe.
Yeah, see, yeah, same. I would be down for that as well.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, I love her. Like, first of all, she is incredibly intelligent. She's a polyglot. I think she speaks like four languages. She's
Wow.
very, very well educated, very well read. Obviously, a fucking beast of the tennis court. And then she looks amazing. And I think she was at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics with her husband and her little girl, Olympia, which amazing. So they're there, and she just looked like an Amazon goddess, is what she looked like. Just
Yeah.
all hair. She's wearing this like bombshell red dress. Just, ugh. I mean, just I can't. I cannot get enough of Serena Williams. I watched her on Hot Ones, the hot spicy wing interview show.
Oh,
Delightful. Yeah. Yeah. So she's my bitch. Love her so much. I love her big, thick body.
I also
Uh,
love that you mentioned that she's a mother because that kind of like goes into our topic today. Um,
yes.
which speaking of, like, I want to start off with I applaud parents who work and still parent. But by parent, I mean like actually parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, parent. Yeah. So on this week's episode, we wanted to talk about parenting. As you guys that are like old school general query listeners, we've talked about being child free, like what that means for us,
Yeah.
or people that want to be. But so we wanted to talk about parenting and like different styles of parenting and like what
Before
we
we dive
think, you
into
know?
parenting a little bit
Yeah.
more, I want to
Yeah.
um, talk shit about parents because we've been calling you guys to be part of this episode.
I know. I know. And ran away, little
Yeah.
chicken.
I take it as you guys are scared. Okay, bye. I'm just kidding.
Well, you're scared. No, no, no. Listen, I get it, right? And I can already hear it. I hear, well, you guys aren't parents. What do you have to say about parenting? Right. Fair. We're not parents, but we are children
But also,
of
I think on the
people.
contrary, we're not parents for all the right reasons. You know,
Right.
like I
Right.
think you and I are very conscious and talk shit about parenting and being parents because we know what that entails and we know what that means. And we
Yeah.
want to be like in a different universe. If we were parents, we'd want to be conscious parents. And so I think that's why we don't want to be parents because, but at least
Yeah.
on my end, like if I did ever for some odd reason went crazy and decided to adopt a child or a surrogate or whatever, um, I would want to be the kind of parent that is there for their child, provides how they should for their child, and guides this thing. I mean, this person to be the best person they can be. You know,
You're doing great, sweetie.
very
You're doing
telling,
great.
very telling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would want to have this person be like the best person they can be and not be like a shitty person.
Yeah. And I think that's key, right? So like I think when I think of parents and parenting, like the psychological concept of parentification comes up really, really quickly for me, which is the concept that a lot of children end up being raised by people that place them in the parent role, whether intentionally or unintentionally, by pushing problems, trauma, handling of issues onto their child. And this child then becomes parentified, meaning this child becomes the parent
Right,
and becomes sort of the person that is the shoulder to cry on for the parent or the fixer for the parent or that kind of thing. And those kinds of patterns last a lifetime, right? And so that's what I think of immediately too. Like when I think of parenting, I go by what I have seen in my life. I've seen all kinds of parents. My parents, the parents of, friends and all kinds of stuff, family members that are parents. And I have seen a lot of parentification in my day, right? Like a lot of it. And I just don't think it's fair in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form,
No, I agree
right?
for sure. Because it's kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, so you brought this human being to life.
Yep.
Now you expect your other children to take care of this other thing. I keep on
Yeah.
calling him thing. I am the devil personified.
I was gonna correct you, but I was like, no, I'm gonna let him do it. I'm just gonna let him do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is, and I see it like in every single culture because I wanted to be like, oh no, that's like probably cultural, but no, like I've seen,
No.
Hispanic, Black, and white and Asian people do that. Maybe not so much Asian. I'm sure there's some extent somewhere, but not so
Yeah.
much. But definitely there's some white lower class people that do that. There Hispanic families do that a lot. And obviously black families do that as well and they can relate for sure. But I also want to point out like yeah, there's like great parents out there and I've seen a lot of them are typically not older, but they're definitely like above their 28th birthday. And they really, you can tell, and those are the only people that give me hope, honestly, because I've seen that, especially working retail for so many years. I've seen some families that, like, you see the mom and dad shopping together with the kids. Typically, you see one or two because, they're actually logical as to what they can handle. And
Yeah.
so I've seen how they talk to their kids, and it's completely different than what I don't want to say what I grew up with, but what I grew up seeing. Because my mom was very much that too. Like she would take the time to explain everything when we did have questions or whatever, and like if we did misbehave, like we knew with that stare what it meant, you know. But when it comes down to like white families, what I've seen is like white responsible families. Let me clarify it. I
Yeah.
have seen they actually take the time to explain and coach or
Their
parent,
kids.
yeah, their kids as
Yeah.
they should. And by what I mean by as they should is like not screaming, not hitting, not like
Belittling.
punishing, belittling.
Yeah.
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 They actually like, walk them and talk them through what they're doing wrong and why it's wrong, not necessarily like shut the fuck up, you dumb child.
No, absolutely. And I think like to me that's such a important thing. So without being ridiculous, like I think this whole fucking idea that, oh, you chose to procreate, you chose to duplicate your DNA, and so now there's this other human, and now this human owes you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's the worst thing I hear all the time. It's like, oh, well, I want a child because when I get old,
You lost me. And you
yeah, I'm
lost the
like,
argument.
excuse you, like what? Huh?
No, like
What do
you're
you
like
mean?
having no,
You want to
oh
procreate
yeah,
so that someone else takes care of you? Like what?
right. Like a
Why?
whole other human being isn't a retirement plan. Like that's not how
Right.
any of this works.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think that sets up this tiny human at a disadvantage from the get-go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I find that concept
Because
bizarre.
you're not looking out for like what is in their best interest. You're looking out for what's in your best interest
Right.
with another
Yeah.
human being, aka
Yeah.
thing.
And then you have like, of course, you guys know, I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna bring up religion. So I one huge thing. So for example, you guys know my obsession with fundies, Christian fundamentalist families. There's largely the presence there are white families. And one of the concepts that they believe in is this biblical concept of being quiverful, is what they call it. And the idea is to have a quiver full of arrows to be God's soldiers for salvation. So their belief is that how you contribute to this is by having as many fucking kids as possible. And
Do you know
so,
what branch of
yeah,
Christianity those fundies are from?
evangelicals.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they believe in this quiverful idea. And so you have like, think of the Duggars. If you're familiar with the Duggars, like, this woman was pregnant for, I'm not fucking exaggerating, like 16 fucking years straight, right? Just pumping out as many kids as fucking humanly possible. And they had this thing, what they called the buddy system, because no human being could possibly take care of fucking 16 kids. So what would happen is, as she's pumping out these kids, the next oldest would be in charge of taking care of the newest baby. The buddy system. No, bitch, that's parentification. You're having your child take care of the
And
new one.
that's failed parenting in my book.
That's failed parenting. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how anybody phrases it, it's failed parenting.
Yeah, I
This
think that was very
children.
common back when like my parents were growing up. Like my mom's side of the family, she only had four, but my dad's side of the family, they had 16 and 14 made it. And that's exactly what happened. Like the elder obviously took care of the younger, and that's not okay.
No. And so, you, like you said, it's cultural, sure, but it's like found in every culture, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what
so,
I'm talking
yeah,
about. It's very much about the amount of education
yeah.
and knowledge the family has and how that portrays into like the family.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't, quantity isn't quality.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful about that. And like, I think also, like, styles of parenting come into play as well. Like, you have, like, you guys, I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the term latchkey kid, right? Meaning the kid, the ignored kid, the kid that just kind of, like, got
AKA the
brushed,
middle child.
aka the middle child. He's definitely absolutely talking about himself.
Right.
But it's so just kind of that, but also, like, now I know a lot of a parenting style that's become very common and well known by millennial parents is the gentle parenting or responsive
Okay,
parenting
okay, okay.
style.
Hmm.
Is responsive is the clinical term, and then the gentle parenting, it's more of the, like, the colloquial term that is used. And basically what that is the idea that you discipline via instruction. So it's a lot, like you said, how your mom would take her time and sit and explain the things that you don't understand, or this is why, whatever. The idea behind responsive parenting is that you create human beings that are able to process their own emotions so that then they can make better choices and be much more empathetic and well-adjusted adults.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
yeah,
Um, I see that be vilified a lot. Like, oh, they're letting kids get away with everything. And back in my day, if you just
right.
spanked them, slapped them around a little. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that worked out great, Karen. When's the last time your daughter talked to you? Oh, has it been years? Oh, yeah. I'm
Right.
sure the slapping worked out great, bitch. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So,
right.
like, I
That
do
I
see
feel like
that.
that comment goes great with like what we're getting into later on this episode is am I the asshole situations, which
Might be asshole
I'm very
situation.
excited to share.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think parenting styles are super, super important. I just think it's about being present. Like,
yeah.
but again, it's,
Present for sure. Yeah.
but also, like, honestly, funds, like, please, like, tell me shut the fuck up if you think I'm wrong. But, like, I also think, like, in today's world, it's exceedingly difficult to be a present parent,
Yep.
right?
Especially with all
Things
this
are
technology.
all
Yeah.
this
Like
technology,
I
things
think
are so expensive, like,
yeah,
yeah.
aside from the expenses, I think parents now, and I want to make it clear, I'm not generalizing. I'm just talking, out of my ass. Like not everyone is like this, obviously. But I think now a lot of parents would rather just hand off their phone or hand off a tablet and have the tablet do the job. And that is not parenting or not effective parenting. I don't care how
Oh,
much you play Dora or Baby Shark or whatever the fuck kids are watching nowadays.
yeah.
That is not parenting.
No, and I think, so to your point, it's like, it's so human, guys, to be like, I'm fucking tired. I don't want to be dealing with teaching this,
Then
like,
don't have children.
then don't have it, right? Like, it's super human to be
Yeah.
like, this is exhausting. And
Yeah.
it's taken a lot from me. But again, it's kind of what you signed up for, not what they signed up for,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's personhood. That was the word I was trying to get to, is personhood. I think what I see a lot in the type of parenting that I see around me is a complete disregard for the personhood of the human
Child.
being. You,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I
like
agree.
they're people,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I want to point out that we're not talking shit about parents in general. And that's why I wanted to have parents in this episode.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there are good parenting skills, there are terrible parenting skills, and
Mhm.
I really wanted to hear from you, parents. What's a good balance? But with that being said, I remember when this whole debate between drag queens and the kids and all that good stuff came about. I did reach out to this couple that I've known from high school, and they just recently became parents. And as I befriended them and to watch them get married, et cetera, and now have children, like I wanted their input on it. And so I did
Sure.
reach out to the mother and I was like, hey, so what's your take on this? And then what's your take on, like sexuality and how young should you talk about sexuality to your children? And I think she was, and I applaud her for saying that, but her response was very logical to the point where she's like, I won't teach my child about gender. I will let them kind of choose what they like, and I won't push my child to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whatever it may be, because she didn't even know if it was going to be a boy or a girl. And she's like, what I do know is like I do want them, or I do want to have them pick and have and coach, not coach them, but like teach them that everything is okay kind of scenario. Um, so in her words, it was more of a I'll let them choose who and what they like and who they want to become. Obviously, being the best parent I can be and like kind of showing them how to be the best person they can be versus me imposing what I want them to be. And I was like, you know what? Props to you. That's good parenting.
It
Like I
is.
wish
It
more
is.
parents saw it that way.
It is. It's really good parenting, and it takes a lot of well-honed ability to
Yeah,
detach from the self, right?
100%.
Because
Yeah.
that's exactly what this person is doing,
Oh
is
my God,
completely
before
being
we
like,
move into anything
you
with
know,
that statement you just said,
yeah,
stop trying to make your child your mini me. Stop it. They probably don't want to dress like you. Emotional damage. Speaking from experience, they probably don't want to dress like you. They probably don't want to be like you. If
yeah,
they do, that's great, good for you. But like,
probably not.
don't force them to be like you.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think, dude, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. Like, don't do that. And also don't be disappointed when your child isn't exactly like you, right?
Or
Like
what you
that,
wanted.
or what you wanted.
Yeah.
As that, as Fun said, emotional damage. Sometimes when as a parent you make it very obvious that your child is not what you wanted them to be, um, they will remember that
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And so they will be, what happens in the brain is that you will always think that what you are isn't enough.
Good enough. Yeah.
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 So yeah,
That
that
kind of
like
links up to
that.
one of the episodes that we talked about last time that we're very excited to do. And someone sent in a story already. I'm not going to read it, but it does talk about, the expectations that sometimes parents do impose on us.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to
And
say.
that's the thing. It makes for really stable human beings. Because if there's one word I would pick for me, it would be stable.
I hate going back to
Um,
this, but like, think of the stability Jeffrey Dahmer had.
just saying.
You're right.
Yeah, So we
or
are
any
super
serial killer
excited.
for that matter. Anyway,
Any serial killer. But so on that note, what we wanted to do is so that you guys aren't like, oh my God, Zuki found you guys are talking all kinds of shit and you guys don't, whatever. Okay, so this is what we decided we
yes,
were
we're
gonna
not
do.
parents by choice.
We're not parents. We get it. Stop. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna read a couple of Am I the Assholes, Parenting Edition, so that you see that we're not fucking crazy. Okay? Um,
uh,
well,
I
you know
think
what
they
I'm
know
saying.
we're crazy, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so you see,
So,
we're not terrible people.
yes. Well, yeah. So then, yes. So we're gonna take a quick little break and then we're gonna come back and discuss. So we'll be
Right
right back.
back.
All right, guys. So we're back. So we're gonna go over some Am I the Asshole parenting editions and giving you our opinions. But really quick, before we jump in, I want to have a quick chat about Kim Kardashian. Okay?
Oh,
That fucking trifling bitch. So hear me out. So I haven't been watching the show, like the new Hulu, like revamp, whatever,
oh
but
yeah.
it gets recommended to me on Reddit a lot, like the recaps of the show. And I was reading through the thread, and people were really upset at Kim for coming after Khloe for Khloe's parenting style.
Which one's
Now,
Chloe?
Khloe is the tallest
Oh,
one.
the vegan. No.
No, that's Courtney.
Okay.
You're thinking she's the one that was with that had babies with Tristan Thompson, got cheated on, and she
Oh
found
yeah,
out
yeah,
when
yeah,
she was
that
giving
one. Yeah,
birth.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's like many reasons to think Khloe Kardashian's a dumbass, but she, by all accounts, seems to be a pretty, what I would call a very dedicated parent. One of the things that
Chloe?
Khloe, yeah,
Really?
Khloe is apparently very regimented, for example, about like her kids' schedules. So her kids are on schedules, they have a bedtime, they have a time that they eat, they have like, homework time, leisure time, things like that. Now, the science tells us children thrive in environments like that.
Right.
Children like to know what's coming next. Their brains relax when they know what's coming next. So it actually opens up their brains to creativity and learning and things like that because they have someone, i.e., their parent, driving the bus, right?
Right. Some sort of
They don't have,
stability. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they're absolutely fine. And so apparently, Khloe Kardashian is very, very big on this. And apparently, Khloe doesn't have help, hired help.
Good for
Whereas
her.
Kim and Courtney definitely do,
Yeah.
right?
And I think another one that doesn't is Kylie.
Kylie.
Yeah,
Kylie also
Kylie
does.
doesn't. No, she doesn't have any
Right.
help either. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, apparently the whole premise was they had to go to this or they went on this trip. And Khloe was like FaceTiming her children and being like, did you guys brush your teeth? Did you do this? Obviously, somebody was there taking the kids
Right.
while
And
she
nanny.
was
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But she was like, did you FaceTiming them? Did you brush your teeth? Hey, it's bedtime. Gotta go to bed, all this stuff. And Kim was irritated. Kim was like, ugh, you're always talking to your kids. And Kim very much was like, I can't wait to get away from mine. They don't listen to me. I
Well,
don't
there's a reason.
at what point Kim literally goes, she's like, I don't feel good when I'm around them. And I'm like, listen, I'm sure a lot of parents can relate, but bitch, you're not supposed to say that out loud on a TV show that they can watch.
Also, like you have a millions and millions of followers. Like, what the fuck is wrong with
What the fuck
you?
is wrong with you? And
Yeah.
also, you cannot say that you undergo the same struggles that working parents do because we know Kim loves to say
No,
that she
no.
works
I'm
so
sure.
fucking
I'm
hard.
sure it's fine. Okay, so in that scenario, like, great. I'm glad she's quasi fucking relatable. I guess.
I guess,
Um,
but
because I'm sure it's a feeling a lot of parents feel, but like
sure,
you feel it for a reason. That means you're failing as a parent.
right. And also like you are a working parent, sure, but you're not a working parent like the nurse working
Right.
12-hour shift.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You guys are not the same, bitch.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so if you're this exhausted with this amount of help and your children, she said, my children run me. That's your fault, Kim.
Right. Exactly my point.
That's your fault.
Yeah. That's
And
where you failed as a parent, my friend.
you failed. And she's sitting there like actively, I'm gonna fucking post the clip because it's so funny, actively trying to make Chloe feel bad for her parenting. And I'm like,
No, in an interview, I'm not gonna lie, like
oh,
that's why out of all of them, I think Kylie is like not the most relatable, but like the one I kind of like the most, quote unquote.
yeah,
Because like in plenty of interviews, she said one, she doesn't want anyone else parenting her children or her own to parent. And then you see her style of parenting, like, yeah, it might be on camera, who knows? But like you can tell by the way their children respond how their parenting goes. Because like if your child is receptive to you like teaching them, coaching them, or whatever you want to call them, or disciplining them, like then you can tell, the kind of dynamic that they have versus
yes.
like, you know, Kim Kardashian trying to like discipline her child and her child is telling a designer in their face that their dress is fucking trash. Like, you know, that's what I'm
Dude,
saying. It's kind of like very
yeah.
telling.
Yeah. Like it, yeah. So I was like shocked and appalled at that, and I felt bad for Chloe.
Oh my god, yes. What the fuck?
Chloe was like, no, dude, like, are you really telling me that I'm on FaceTime with my children too much? Like,
Right.
what the fuck? Right.
Like I
So
birthed this person. Come on.
come on, sis, right?
Yeah.
So that was a lot. So I just wanted to start that off with that is that parents eat each other alive as well.
Oh,
Like
they
it's not just
do.
child-free people that are out here
Yeah.
commenting, like it's parents. And so yeah.
Yeah.
So I will start off really quick with this really interesting story and we'll discuss. So the title is Am I the asshole for mocking my brother-in-law's absent parenting?
Okay.
So my sister and her husband, Parker, have two adorable kids, Serenity and Destiny. Um, Parker, however, doesn't exactly win Father of the Year awards. He works late most nights, spends weekends glued to his phone, and leaves the parenting heavy lifting to my sister. Now, I love my sister dearly, but watching her struggle while Parker plays absentee dad rubs me raw. Last night, it boiled over. We were at a family dinner, and Serenity, bless her heart, confided in me how she wished Parker would play catch with her like the other dads. Parker was literally right there, scrolling through Twitter as if she didn't exist. I snapped. Not my finest moment, I admit, but I blurted out, maybe if your dad wasn't so busy being a thumb champion, he could find the time to throw a ball. Parker looked up, face like thunder. My sister shot me a pleading look, and the rest of the dinner was tense as a drum. Now, everyone's calling me the asshole for publicly humiliating Parker and embarrassing my sister. They say I should have pulled him aside privately, not make a scene. But honestly, how many private talks does it take before a man steps up for his kids? So, Reddit, am I the asshole for calling out Parker's abysmal parenting? Should I apologize? Let the judgment commence. P.S. Please be kind to my sister in the comments. She doesn't deserve any of this drama. So, yeah, what do we think?
So I definitely think the brother-in-law is totally an asshole. And I might be like really biased because that's what my household looked like.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like obviously my mom took care of the majority of the disciplining and the educating and all that good stuff. And so like
yeah.
my dad would like work, whatever, come home and then stick to his magazines and like kind of like lay in bed and do nothing. So like as a child of that, yes, he is an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting that like I do think men get a pass. I do. I do. I think men get a much bigger
I
pass
agree with
when it
that for sure.
comes to
Yeah.
parenting
Yeah.
than women. Like, for example, that whole thing, oh, is dad babysitting today? No, dad is not fucking babysitting. They're his
It's
fucking
his
kids,
children. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah. So it's always this assumption that if a dad is out by himself, God forbid, with his kids, there's something wrong here. And it's like, no, that's parenting.
Actually think everything is right with that. Whenever I see a dad with his two children, I'm like, moist. Uh,
Moist,
yeah,
hot, love to
right,
see it.
right. Like
Yeah,
more parents should do that. Like man up and fucking take care of your children.
that's a sentence. Man up and take care of your children,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not, yeah. So that to me is like an immediate irritation. I'm like, okay, dude, like you suck. And
Especially
then,
nowadays, if women can work a full-time job, 40 hours a week, and then come home,
home.
cook, clean, and actually take care of the kids, like you as a man can totally do it.
It's nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
then, so again, for me, yeah, I mean, you can argue that maybe she shouldn't have called the dad a thumb warrior or whatever. That was the word she used or something.
I honestly don't care what she called him. Like, good for you.
Because the thing
You
is, like,
spoke up.
yeah, what I think a lot of it too is like, she might have said it. That kid has thought it.
For
The
sure.
daughter has.
Yeah.
She has already said, "Hey, my dad doesn't pay attention to me." So you're not giving this child news. Like she
Yeah. The
knows.
kid knows. The kid grows, once again, from experience. Children see these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no,
So,
not the asshole. I think
yeah.
everybody
She's not the
coddling,
asshole. The brother in law is totally the asshole.
totally the asshole, and
Man
everybody that
up.
coddles him is an asshole as
100%.
well.
Yeah.
No.
I
Yes.
agree. Disgusting. Anywho,
Gross. Okay. Yeah.
story number two.
Okay.
All right. So, am I the asshole for parenting another child after giving up my own?
Oh. Okay. Well, let's see where this goes.
I know. I know the um immediate reaction is yes, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Right. To keep a long story short, I got pregnant when I was 15 and was forced to give up my baby. Okay.
Okay.
Forced to give up my baby. It was a very hard time of it was a very hard time in my family's life, and we just couldn't take care of another child at the time. Then why are
Sure.
you fucking spreading your legs? Anyway,
Girl, for real.
by
Birth
relation,
control.
hence why we need to vote wisely.
Correct. So people can go get birth control freely. Thank you very
Exactly.
much.
Anyway, my
Yes.
relationship with my mother became strained after this because she was also a foster child and had gone through a rough childhood. My
Okay.
father was already working three jobs to provide for my family, and I was not going to place more burden on him. Since
Okay.
moved out when I was 18, I've been in low contact with my mom, but have a good relationship with my dad and siblings. I started dating my current boyfriend 3 years ago. He has a son from a previous relationship, and I adore him. We have a good, friendly relationship. I got along with his mother as well. We lived full time with his mom. Sorry. I'm like shocked. I'm like, you lived full time with his mom. Okay, interesting. Choice. We all have choices, I guess.
Yeah.
He lived full time with his mom, stayed over, but would come visit my boyfriend on breaks, holidays, and long weekends. Unfortunately, his mother got into an accident and passed away about a month ago. His dad
Oh.
decided to take a week off of work to drive over and help his sons pack up his things as he's going to start living with us. Okay, so I guess they
Oh.
weren't living together. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. I'm
Okay.
confused. The other day, I was catching up with my dad over the phone, and I guess I was on speaker because when I was telling my dad about the situation and the fact that my boyfriend's son would start living with us, I heard my mom start yelling in the background. She said a lot of hurtful things, but luckily I didn't hear most of it because she was so loud as the speaker wasn't catching what she was saying. The main things I caught in her fit were her saying I was going to go to hell for abandoning my daughter, but taking another child now that she called me a lot of inappropriate names that I don't think I can put on here. I hung up on the call in the middle of her fit, and my dad texted me an hour later apologizing. But I told him it wasn't him who needed to apologize. I informed
Right.
my whole family that I would be going no contact with my mom from then on, and that if they wanted to celebrate any holidays with me, then my mother would need to be excluded. I've wished every day of my life since then that I had the chance to keep my daughter. But I know that life would have not been the best. The life I would have given her would not be the best. I understand where my mom is coming from, especially with her own trauma from her foster system. And the things that she said really hurt, but I see the sense in it. It really has made me think that it could be wrong for me to take this role. Most of my family is on my side, besides the super religious people who still shun me for giving up my daughter. But could I be the asshole? So general consensus of people, not the asshole. And now after reading the story, I think I agree. She's not the asshole.
No, and I think so. I think in her case, it's even harder, right? Because
Yes.
I think for her, she gave up again. That sort of like biological drive to keep this kid
Right.
must have been overwhelming for her, right? Like
As a
she,
15-year-old, for
as a
sure.
15-year-old,
Yeah.
already like she's not fully developed, and yet her body is racked with all the hormones
I
changes.
guess this is my like question for her. Like, okay, yeah, you fucked someone, maybe you didn't know better and you got pregnant, right? But like, talk about birth control, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why
Like,
plan B is necessary.
yeah,
Yeah, she
absolutely.
was irresponsible at 15, like maybe the best thing would have been for her to take plan B versus giving birth to a child that she was going to throw into the foster
Sure.
care system, you know?
But if she either didn't know
Right.
or didn't have the options, then
Correct.
okay, then she
She
did
did the right thing.
the right thing. And I
Exactly.
think and I think that gets super, I think, like in and so and then she said something key like, oh, my mom has a lot of trauma because she was a foster kid. And it's
Right.
like, okay, yeah, I understand that, but also like if your mom had a shit ton of trauma for being a foster kid, maybe
She
she should
should
have done a better
understand.
job of and also make sure that you didn't contribute to a cycle, right?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
she didn't. So
Right.
they were like there were parenting failures throughout, but to be honest, this 15-year-old kid seemed to have done the best
The
she
right
could with
thing.
a
Yeah.
really fucked up shit situation.
Correct.
And
And I think that she
yeah,
made a point when she said like her dad was already working 3 jobs. And so like adding
yes,
another mouth would have been more of a burden versus like,
yeah.
so
And
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think
Overall, I
it's
think
just
it's a
fair.
broken system and,
It's
you
a
know,
broken system
she
overall,
did
but
the
I
best
think
she could do.
she did the best she could do. And also like her mom trying to judge her by the same rule throughout her life is
Right.
also unfair.
Yeah.
Like her at 15
100%.
is not the same as her in her mid 20s or 30s. So, no.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's not the
Yeah.
asshole.
I
Not
think the
at all.
mom is the asshole of anything.
Yeah. Projection. And I would know. Um let's see. Okay. Am I the asshole? Parenting edition. That's all we get. Very interesting that it happened just now, considering I just commented on a post about something similar today. So, my 3.5-year-old sometimes hits. I've tried to address it multiple ways and will actually be implementing the hitting game next, suggested by a kind commenter on here. So, today, just about an hour ago, apparently he hit his father. I did
Oh,
not see it. When I came into the room, my husband told my son that if he hits again, my husband will lock him out of the house. For the last 3.5 years, I've done everything to make sure my kid knows that I will never abandon him and that no matter what, I will always be there. So my husband saying that did not rub me well. However, I did not call him out in that instant. Seconds later, my son turned to me and said, if I hit dad again, he will lock me out of the house. To that, I said, it's okay. I will come with you. My husband threw a tantrum over me saying that, said he was never actually going to do it, and I told him that our son doesn't know that. That very instant, my son said, scared and on the verge of crying, if I have to sleep outside, someone can take me. I told him that I will sleep wherever he sleeps and I will never let anyone take him. So anyway, that led to an argument between me and my husband. He thinks I'm too self-righteous, and I think he is not conscious and mindful enough of how his actions and words affect our kids. Did I actually overreact? How would you react if someone told your kid something like that?
So what's the question? If she's the asshole?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think
there's
both of them are the asshole. Like,
yeah.
talk about parenting 101. What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Guys, okay. So this is what we talk about when we talk about irresponsible parenting. Like,
Yeah.
this is prime example. Good
Like
cop, bad cop. We've heard of it millions of
it doesn't
times.
work.
Right.
It's
It
not great.
never works.
It
Exactly.
never works.
Yeah.
The kid ends up, you guys end up pitted against each other, and the kid ends up
Exactly.
abused.
Yeah. Like, you're
So
creating trauma for the child. You guys are fucking fighting each other. Like, you're not on the same page. Like, this is just a shithole. Like,
it's a
a mess.
shithole.
Yeah.
It's a shithole. She says,
So all of you guys are the assholes, including the
yeah.
child.
And she says, here's an edit. She said, edit to add. Since quite a few people have commented about my comment undermining my husband, I thought I would clarify my thought process behind it. When my husband said it, I did not react or say anything because I literally did not want to undermine him in front of our son. It is also, however, very important for me to have my son wholeheartedly believe that I will never abandon him. Additionally, my youngest brother's teacher told his class in kindergarten that if they didn't behave, she won't let them go home. And I witnessed my amazingly sweet and well-behaved brother wake up and cry in the middle of the night, scared of not being able to come home. I cannot have my kid feel like that even for a second. I just hope that my son did not fully register what his dad said, but then he repeated it to me. And I said what I said, thinking that this way my husband still gets to implement the punishment and my son doesn't feel abandoned. Like, girl, no,
My
no.
reply to her is like, take therapy.
My reply is like,
Like,
girl, chill the fuck out. Like,
that's
calm
the
down.
reason why you go to therapy.
Like,
You deal
I
with
don't
your
know.
childhood traumas.
Like,
That way
yeah,
you don't project those traumas to your children.
yeah, like that's a little like she's a little intense, this girl.
Yeah, like, she
Yeah.
got trauma from her brother crying because he was going to get stuck in school, and so now her husband kicking her kid out and having them sleep outside is like triggering to her. It's shithole. That's all I can say. Shithole.
Just nut job. Nut
Right.
status. Like
Go
chill
to
the fuck
fucking
out.
therapy and
Touch
deal with
grass.
your
It's
emotional
crazy.
damage and learn how to be a responsible parent.
Yeah.
And no, going
No.
against your husband and your husband saying they're going to kick him out is not okay either way. So everyone's the asshole in this scenario.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Prime example of terrible parenting in both ways. Good
Primo.
cop, bad cop never works.
Never
Both of
works.
you will be terrible parents for life. The kid will
Yes.
know who to ask for what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. What's the next
Disgusting.
one? Disgusting. Disgusting.
Okay. Am I the asshole for not parenting my sister's children?
Okay.
Right. So my mind immediately goes through, like, maybe my husband passed away. I was gonna say maybe I passed away, but like, no, why would a ghost be writing this?
Listen, stranger things have happened. Yeah.
But that's why I would say, like, I wonder where this is going. So I'm excited. Anyway, am I the
Okay.
asshole for not parenting my sister's children? I, 19 female, am living at home with my parents and doing online school.
Okay.
I also have a job and pay for rent, which works out for the most part. My sister, 27 female, as in sister wouldn't be obvious enough. Anyway, lives in a couple lives a couple miles away with her two kids, 6 female and 9 male. Uh, when I was in high school, I used to babysit for her $5 an hour. My mom also used to watch the kids a couple times a week while my sister was at work or was with her friends.
Okay.
After I graduated high school, my sister stopped officially asking me to babysit and instead started dropping her kids off at our house without warning. Officially, it was supposed to be my mom watching them. But my mom gradually stopped paying attention and expected me to drop everything and babysit the kids. She says it's part of being a good sister and my responsibility. What the fuck? Anyway, I've heard so many conversations with her, and she's promised that she tried to be parent present more and take more responsibility for them, but it never happens. Instead, she literally leaves the house for half the time that the kids are there. She also refuses to tell my sister to not drop off the kids at our house without warning. I've talked to my sister many times as well, and she also refuses to give warning when she drops off the kids because our mom said it's fine and it's her house. She even knows that it's always me watching and our mom doesn't pay attention, but doesn't matter to her because she's home anyways with online school and online work. I don't think it's fair though. I think I'm doing as well as I could be because I haven't been able to focus in class and on my work with the kids around. As a result, I haven't been parenting her kids while they're around and just act like a glorified lunchroom monitor. I make sure they're safe, sit them in front of the TV, and make them simple food when they ask me to. I don't yell at them for swearing. I don't make them do their schoolwork. And they fight and bribe with candy to hold off until my sister comes back. Oh, they fight and I bribe them. She didn't put I, but anyway, this happens around 2 to 3 times a week for around the whole afternoon. That is such weird worrying. Like, this happens around 2 to 3 times a week around the whole afternoon. Anyway, the school system failed us. My sister has been getting more annoyed at me that their homework isn't done when she picks him up after, and that they swear in front of her, then say, Auntie lets us do it. I told her that if she wants me to ask to babysit for them, to give me an advance warning, then I'll give her kids my full attention and follow her rules. She knows that I'm right and she doesn't have an argument, so she doesn't press it too much. I'm moving out by the end of the year, so I know that my mom will have to step up or my sister will have to find a long-term child care. I feel guilty for not being the best influence my niece and nephew, but if I were to give them my full attention, I'd probably fail out of school and lose my job. They'd also like being at our house more than at my sister. And I'm wondering if I'm the asshole for this. Any thoughts? Huh.
Um, I would put those kids out in the yard, is what I would do. I would put them out in the yard with sharp objects. I would. I would. And I would be like, bye. And I would just walk away. I would. And here's why. I couldn't, like, one thing would be if the sister was, I don't know, not a fucking asshole, and just dropped off her crotch goblins whenever, she like felt the need to.
Right.
Like, that's one thing. But also, no, your child's schooling, not my responsibility. Your child's, I don't know, nutrition, also not my responsibility. Also, how about mom? How about you go fuck yourself? If you think it's cool to have your grandkids around with no rules and I'm somehow getting paid $5 an hour, like this is Victorian England and I'm a chimney sweep, like I don't know. How about you go absolutely fuck yourself, all of you? No, no. So if
Yeah,
it's
no,
not clear, she's not an asshole. Like, what the fuck
no, I
is
totally
this?
agree. She is not the asshole. The
Like,
sister, the mom, and the kids are totally the assholes. Um, the sister primarily. Um, what can we talk about the fact that she said it is your responsibility?
Sorry.
Did I birth these fucking monsters?
I'm
No. Did I
sorry.
tell you to? Did I point a gun at your face while you were fucking? Like,
Right. No, ma'am. Absolutely
so
not. Like,
confused. What the fuck?
I just, no,
Yeah.
no,
Okay. Can we just, a quick little caveat? Like, it is not your aunt and uncle's responsibility to take care of your children, not even
it's
your
not.
godmother, godfather. Like, no, fuck that. It
It's
is
not.
your responsibility as a parent who decided to fuck and have this little monster. Now you get to
That's
take care
it.
of this little monster yourself.
Now
If you
you
don't
have to
like
do
it,
it.
if you don't like the way that they're being brought up, guess whose fault is it?
Guess whose fault it is? And that's the thing. I think, to your point, you're absolutely correct. And I think this is key. A lot of these absentee parents have a tendency, we'll say,
To blame
to
everyone else.
blame everyone else.
Yeah.
And then when anybody does step in to help or try to be proactive or anything like that, they are quick
Defensive.
to criticize and get defensive and no, not like that. But what are you doing?
Right.
You're not doing anything, right?
Right.
So that's the fucking
Also,
issue.
like, I will say this, like, for example, if, I mean, it's like a thin line, because, for example, if you see, like, I don't know, I'm going to put a hypothetical scenario, like my sister has a child, and then
Yeah.
I notice, like, she's doing something wrong. And then it's not necessarily my call, but like I could come up to her and be like,
Hey,
bro, what? You know, and be like, hey, this is like not okay. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's me being a good uncle, but I can't dictate how they bring up their children,
yeah.
you know?
It's kind of their job and right to fuck them
Yeah.
up the way
And
they
on
want
the
to.
same note, it's kind of like as a parent, you have to, and 99% of the time, like as a parent, you won't see your flaws, obviously. But like if someone comes up to you and is like, hey, I don't think that's correct, like don't immediately get defensive. Like maybe
Defensive.
like think it through, see their point. And I will say this because I have a little anecdote. So at some point, without giving too much detail, some scenario happened in our house. And then I'm going to say one of us was moving in with a partner. And then one of us, made the decision, whatever. It was moving to another state. And then out of nowhere, my aunts appeared and they came up to my mom and they were like, hey, what the fuck? Like, that's not okay. They're not married, blah, blah, blah. Like, in that scenario, it's like, who the fuck are you? Like my child is old enough. If they make a mistake, it's their fault. Like they are old enough now. Had you had concerns if my child was 16 years old moving in with a 40-year-old, then I get it.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe I see your concern, but like my child is old enough now. And when I say old enough, I mean like over 20.
Right.
Like, why the fuck are you saying that this is not okay because they're not married? And who the fuck cares if they're married or not? Anyway, my point is know your boundaries as an uncle,
Yes.
aunt or uncle.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Aunt or uncle. I
yeah,
agree. Very much so. Yeah, no, not the asshole. Your
yeah.
sister
Not the
sucks.
asshole. Yeah,
Um, I understand. Anyways, so am I the asshole for asking my boyfriend to let me do the parenting? My boyfriend and I are going to have a baby girl in 16 weeks. I moved in with him when I found out I was pregnant. The problem is, he also has a 14-year-old daughter from a previous relationship who is extremely spoiled, and it's my boyfriend's fault. Some examples are that she will only wear designer clothes, which I think is very unnecessary for a kid, and my boyfriend has a maid, so she has never done a chore in her whole life. A few weeks ago, I asked her to wash the dishes, and she looked at me like I'm insane and said, fuck off, the maid will do it. She is exactly how I don't want my child to be. So a few days ago, my boyfriend and I were talking about the baby, and he was talking about his plans for when the baby is born and how much he is going to spoil her. I told him that it's better if he let me do all the parenting. He asked why, and I gently explained to him that he has already raised a child and I don't want my child to end up like her. So it's better if he just leaves the parenting to me. He got mad and called me an asshole and asked me if I have a problem with his daughter. I said that I don't, but I
No
want to raise
shit,
my child
Sherlock.
differently. And he sarcastically told me that maybe I should move out and be a single parent and see how I like it. Now he won't talk to me, and I'm wondering if I shouldn't have said that. Am I the asshole?
I
I think,
want to say she's partly an asshole.
yeah, I mean, she could have handled it better. Like, for example, when he was like, "Oh, do you have a problem with my daughter?" I would be like, "No, but I do have a problem with your parenting. Like, I don't think your daughter is the way she is. Like, I
I
don't think it's a
agree. I
personal flaw of
agree. But
hers."
also, as you know, okay, so it's implied that they've been dating for a while,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I'm assuming she's lived with them for a while.
yes.
So, like, maybe she could have brought up his parenting skills earlier before they had a child.
That's actually a fantastic point. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's where I'm going at with this. Like,
Yeah,
she is partly an asshole just because, like, we could have had this conversation, a couple months, maybe years ago. I don't know how long they've been together, but why are you having this conversation when you're birthing his child?
yeah. Like if you didn't like what you saw,
Right,
right? In terms of of how he raised his 14-year-old,
right.
then that would be a pretty big red flag if you decided to sign up to have a kid with this person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
That's why
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, she's not directly the asshole in this specific situation, but you are the
But
asshole in, like a bigger spectrum where, like, why is this new? Like, of
why is
course
this
he's
new?
gonna react like
Yes.
that.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
also like you've seen this, you've been privy to this. Like
Right.
you knew this was going to be an issue. Why
Exactly.
would you care now? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's too little, too late, sis.
Exactly. That's
So
why
you're,
I am kind of like, yeah, you're kind of an asshole.
yeah,
All right. So this will be our last story.
yeah.
Am I the asshole for using strict parenting methods? Okay.
Okay.
Before I read, I do want to say the general consensus is the asshole. Like, this person is an asshole. So I'm
Okay.
excited.
Let's see.
Hello. I'm going to try to sum this up as quick as possible. I, 33-year-old female, got pregnant at 15. My first daughter, who is now 17, after I got married, and I was blessed with my second daughter, who is now 9 years old.
Okay.
My husband and I agreed to raise our kids strictly to avoid making them the same mistakes as we did as teenagers.
Okay.
So we have set some rules around the house. The youngest has a strict curfew of 8 p.m. and the oldest has a 9:30 p.m. The oldest has a phone, but we have enabled limits. So she is only allowed to spend 90 minutes on Instagram and Snapchat per day. Neither of
Okay.
my daughters are allowed to wear makeup unless we are attending a wedding or other formal occasion. Their electronic devices are kept in our room after curfew. No dating allowed for the eldest. No locks on the room. Random room inspections. No private browsing allowed on devices. We check up on internet history every 1 to 2 weeks. Both daughters, particularly the eldest, must give proof that they have done either homework or reading, writing to have access to the snacks. What the fuck? So far, the system has worked well. My daughters are performing well in school, aside from the occasional argument or two. But I was discussing my parenting techniques to my cousin, who insists that I'm being too strict and not allowing my daughters to develop a sense of independence. Am I the asshole? Also, sorry for formatting this incorrect. I usually browse for my laptop. There's no
Yeah.
updates or anything.
You're
I mean,
you're no, you're making machines. You're not making human beings.
right.
Like you're not they're doing great in school. Cool. They're gonna go to college and get an STD within a week. Like they're gonna like you see what I'm saying? Like you are literally not teaching these people.
Also, it doesn't sound so originally I was like, okay, maybe she's not an asshole, but also like the whole like curfews are fine,
Curfews
maybe
are
allowing
fine,
them to
but
go through Instagram and Snapchat for 90 minutes a day is okay. I mean, why not?
I guess, yeah, yeah.
Right.
No
But
problem
also,
there. But
like,
also,
why the fuck are you going through their rooms? Like, it's okay to check up on whether they're cleaning their rooms or not, right? Like, I
sure.
totally agree with that. But, like, random inspections, like, what are you inspecting?
Are they in a fucking like military institution or are they at home? Like, I don't
Right.
understand.
Like, what exactly are you inspecting? Also, like, um, the whole makeup situation, I don't know, that's a little extreme.
It's just so boring. Like, it's also like,
I wouldn't necessarily consider her an asshole, but I wouldn't necessarily consider her a parent either. Like, you're a
yeah, like
sergeant.
you're a sergeant. And also, like, again, your children aren't making any choices for themselves, right? If you don't
Here's
let
the
your
thing. They are because she implied they have arguments.
right,
Right.
and see, so that's what I'm saying. Like these kids do the things that they do because they're afraid and they know they have to. They're
Right.
not doing them because they feel like they should or it's a good thing, right?
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
that's the reason. Like chores are important. Why? Because you assign a sense of responsibility to your child and you're like, this is how you contribute to a home and this is good. Da, da, da. The idea is that eventually the child wants to help because that's the
Correct.
right thing to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the whole thing. So if you're like on top of them 24/7, they're not actually doing
Yeah.
shit.
Also,
Like,
why are you like holding their electronics hostage after a
oh my
curfew?
God,
What the
you
fuck?
don't trust your kids. Let them fuck
Clearly,
up,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
right.
Let them keep it.
And
And if
you're
you
right. Like as soon as they go to high school or graduate high school or whatever, like one of them's gonna get pregnant, the other one's probably gonna get an STI.
like,
Yeah,
gonna fucking drive their car into a fucking embankment or some shit, like
that's if
that's
they
the
make it through.
problem.
Because suicide rates because of controlling parents is really high. And
Are
girl,
really high.
you are
Yeah, yeah.
not helping your case.
You're not
So I
helping
guess
your
in that case, yeah, you're kind of an asshole.
no, they're an
Yeah.
absolute asshole. And see, that's what I mean. Like, I think like to bring it back to like where what I started with my comment at the top about like Kim and Chloe is like you can, I think, strike a balance. And I've seen, so like really quick, since I've spent a lot of time talking about like shitty parents, I have a group of women in my life that I know to be amazing mothers, amazing parents. But I can honestly tell you, all of them have some measure of parental trauma themselves that they have made the very conscious decision to not repeat to the best of their
100%.
ability.
And I will say
And
that that's
yeah,
something that my mother has mentioned before.
yeah,
Like she has always said, this is what I grew up with, and I never wanted to make those same mistakes. So, like, yeah, she made other mistakes because, like, no one's
because
perfect.
it's human. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
yeah,
But, she didn't, like, she made a conscious decision, like you said, to not repeat the same cycle, which I
exactly.
don't think a lot of people have the emotional intellect to notice.
Exactly. And I think like that to me is the key. If I, for me, my closing thought is this. My biggest thing with parenting and parenting styles is like, I don't care how you go about raising your child. To me, the most important thing is that you need to have very clear intentions when you're setting up how you're going to raise your child. And if it's for anything other than their well being and their ability to be the best human they can be, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
That should be the key, right? And no one is, like you said, no one is saying everything is perfect and linear. That would be fucking ridiculous. But we are saying there is a fine line. So watch that. And if you decide to be a parent, and if you are a parent, and you want to rip us a new one, that would be great. We'd love that. But we'd love to get a little beat up on this podcast. Yeah,
Not
but
just on the
that's
podcast. Just
it.
kidding.
Yeah.
My
I mean, to
closing
me, that's it. Yeah.
my closing statement is for sure. We're not saying parenting should be black or white. We're not
No.
saying parenting is easy by any means.
Any means.
We know it's very hard, hence why we both have chosen to not
Opt it
be
out.
parents. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, we agree with you. If you're a parent and you're listening to this and you're like, fuck you guys, I agree. Fuck
Same.
us. But at the end of
Fuck
the
us.
day,
For
we're
real.
right. You're saying fuck you because you agree with us. It's not easy and you're probably fucking up yourself. So
Yeah.
my closing statement is if you are a parent or if you are going to be a parent, don't raise your child going back to what you said. Don't raise your child with expectations of what you want or what you expect out of life. That child is not your retirement plan.
No.
Yeah. So just be a conscious parent, go to therapy, and learn to be better for them. I
Yeah.
mean, once you become a parent, I've heard this a million times. And, it's great that parents think this way because they always say, once you become a parent, it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
And I agree. So, like, make it about them. And so, make a conscious decision to take care of yourself for them. And I go back to Adele's quote when she got divorced. It was a matter of me being better for my children, a better self for my children. So be an Adele in life.
Be an Adele in life. I think
Right.
that's a great way to close it out, guys. Absolutely. Be an Adele in life and let us know all your amazing thoughts about parenting. We can't wait to hear all about it. And we still have the upcoming what is your most painful memory?
We're very excited about that.
We're
But
very,
that
very excited.
concludes this episode of General Query.
All right, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.